Excuse me a second. I'm going to clean off my glasses. I was trying to see if anyone other than Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich were in the debate tonight. They seem to kind of be ignoring Rick Santorum and Ron Paul. The way that Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich were arguing back and forth, I kind of wanted to go down there to Florida, sneak up in the crowd, and yell out, "Girl fight! Girl fight!" They're just going back and forth at each other. It's just ridiculous. And, some people say, like, well, Ron Paul runs negative ads and you support him. What about that? And I think that there is a place for negativity in the campaign. People will say, like, well, I only want to hear their positive things. Well, if you think about it as 4 restaurants on the 4 corners of an intersection, and all you want to hear about is the new menu items that they have. Well, let's say that one of the restaurants had some food poisoning that hurt some people. Wouldn't you want to know about that exposure to risk before you went there for a nice dinner with your family? The answer is, well, of course I'd want to know. Well, the question is, do you think that you're going to find out that by looking at the menu at that restaurant? Probably not. So when you report on the negative issues that affect people interacting with their elected officials, there is a place, especially when that official's opening up the voter to a risk. So I think it is important for the candidates to focus in on the issues of other people, but that is not what Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich were doing tonight. They were just arguing, like, that's not true, this happened and that happened, and you did this, it was unethical. They weren't focusing on how it affected the voters and how the behaviors that they were engaging in were going to give the voters in the future food poisoning. So I think that's the real things that need to be addressed, is the policies that are going to hurt the voters in the future, and the votes that people have made in the past, or decisions they've made with the power they've had in the past that hurt voters. So, so that's my thoughts kind of midway through. And, Brian Williams, he wins the J.R. Miller Award for worst debate moderator ever. So we'll see if he can, double up on that and give him kind of a 2 golden thumbs down before the evening's over. Well, the debate is over, and I don't know how many questions Ron Paul got. I think my count was 7 in 2 hours. Not so good distribution of questions. I also think Santorum got looked over. I think he got 8 questions, if my count's right. Maybe you guys can double check that. And it was just ridiculous, the storyline that they try to set up, that Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney are in this 2-man race, and we're just waiting for Rick Santorum and Ron Paul to drop out. Well, just from a delegate standpoint, and I love that Ron Paul pointed out that no one has stolen his Iowa delegates. They haven't been assigned. And his organization did very well in Iowa, and they're probably going to come out of there. I saw some estimates that they might even come out of there with 10 delegates out of Iowa. And in that case, Ron Paul would clearly be the winner of delegates from Iowa. And I love that he pointed that out. And if you look at the ballots that Newt Gingrich isn't even on, he isn't even competing for more than 500 delegates. So basically a fourth of the delegates that are up for grabs are not available to him. And yet we're supposed to believe that he somehow is the front runner. He is going to win the nomination. So it's just very interesting. He didn't even make it on the ballot in Virginia, where he lives, but it's just kind of like, well, somehow he could still be the electee or the nominee for the Republicans. And, you know, as the election moves forward, you know, it's going to become more and more obvious. Like when we get to the Virginia debates, you know, is Santorum and Newt Gingrich going to be allowed to participate in the Virginia debate when they're not even on the ballot? So it's as this process moves forward, I think that the media will have to detach from the storyline they're trying to tell and hopefully focus in on some reality. The overall substance of the debate tonight was pretty shallow. One of the comments I read online was, "Who wrote these questions? A fourth grader?" And I kind of have to agree with that. You have the combination of the fourth grader and the seventh grader, because you had the pitter patter fighting over whose makeup looks better and who's a better Republican, and you know, zero substance. And then you also had the what do you want to be when you grow up goofy questions. Like I just think the overall substance was very lacking in the debate, and you know, like very disappointing. So obviously the debate didn't change my opinion, and I just wonder what impact it's going to have on Florida. And I realize that I don't live in Florida, so I don't know some of the issues that they're talking about, how the Florida voters are going to consider it. I hope that they realize that Ron Paul has the best plan for our country moving forward, and I hope they vote for him.